27 November 2022. In this Warrafak moment, I want to talk about inflation and the things that goes on in our economy. Now, I want to place it on record. First of all, I'm not an economist, and secondly, I'm not giving financial advice. So, all I am doing is I'm talking about the things that I see, the things that I read, and the things that I hear and understand, and things that make sense to me. I'm a guy that firmly believes in the fact that the universe is built on arithmetic. 1 plus 1 is 2. Whether you're sitting in South Africa, in London, in Moscow, or on Mars, 1 plus 1 is 2. That is a given, and it can never change. Now, inflation is one of those things that we are constantly kept aware of. But very few people really understand what inflation actually is. And I'm one of those guys that never fully realized the thing of inflation. And then one night I listened to Alexander on the Duran, and he said basically, in its most simple form, inflation is the result of a lack of goods. And let me explain it like this. If you are a chicken farmer and you sell chickens, every week on a Monday you have chickens for sale. Your farming operation makes it possible that you have every Monday there's 100 chickens that you can sell. But you live in a community where there is 10,000 people, and that 100 chickens is sold out within an hour or 2 hours. Pretty soon, the natural marketing actions are going to instigate a price increase in your chickens. You were originally happy to sell that chicken for 50 rand, but due to the high demand, the price will climb. Either you are going to jack the price up, or some clever guy is going to walk in there, sit there, sleep Sunday night next to your gate, and when you open the gate on Monday morning, he's in and he buys all 100 of those chickens for 50 bucks. And he drives away and he sells those chickens for 60, 70, 80, 100 bucks. Whatever the community is willing to pay for it, that guy is going to find the highest price that he can get for those chickens. And out of that, the 10,000 community members, there are people there that will be willing to pay 150 rand for that chicken. And that is inflation. That is how prices rise. Now, it becomes a little bit more complicated when people go and borrow money from the bank to buy that expensive chicken of 150 rand. That is not right. That creates bigger problems in the economy. Now, what the central bank is doing with this repo rate that it pushes up, it tries to make the borrowing of money too expensive to waste the money. Because in that community where they're buying your chickens every Monday morning, when times go tough, and people start running out of money, the price of that chicken will come down, because they can't, the middleman cannot sell that chicken at 150 rand anymore, because there's no buyers for 150. Slowly but surely the price is going to go down, 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 up to the point, depends on how tough it gets, the people will again pay 50 rand for that chicken. That middleman will not have room to make a living, and the guys will start buying directly at your gate again for 50 rand. But that repo rate, what that repo rate increase does in South Africa, and most probably in every other country in the world, I'm going to show you this tweet. The big four banks, thanks to this 75 basis point increase, are to record a gross increase in turnover of over 36 billion rand in the next financial year. This is an increase at a gross level with no associated increase in cost of sale. A free gift from SARB, as it were. Lucky are those on fixed rates. Now, listen to what I'm saying. The repo rate has been increased. They say it is to prevent excessive spending. But the question comes now. You personally, most probably figured out a year ago, listen, things are not looking good. I'll have to cut my spending. And you started paying off your debts and live within your means and not to limit your exposure. And you're battling to pay off your existing debts. Now, the SRB upped that interest rate, the banks upped the interest rate, and all of a sudden, instead of 100,000 rand that you owed the bank, you now owe them, for argument's sake, 110,000 rand with a new interest. Who the fuck benefits here? Not the economy. The bank benefits. Why the hell must your debt be increased while you are busy trying to pay that debt off? The fair way would be to say all new debt will be at this high rate. Then they will stop people borrowing money to buy stupid things. But by penalizing everybody in the community with the increase, the banks are making a fortune, and we that are suffering already suffers more. Think about this. Think about it. Now, my question this morning, where are the political parties? Why are they not in the streets about this plain, simple, brutal rape of the consumers? Why? What happens in the shops? The farmers, the producers of the food that you buy, they are not getting more money for their product. The shops are making the money. The wholesalers are making the money. They are making the big profits. You go to a farmer that has a butchery on his farm, and you will pay most probably in the vicinity of about 65, 70 rand a kilogram for a lamb. That same lamb. You walk into the supermarket and you want to buy a packet of chops, you're going to pay 250 rand a kilogram. Why? We as consumers are being forced to pay for mismanagement of the whole economy when the Reserve Bank ups the interest rate. If they up the rate and say all new loans will go at this rate, then it makes sense and it is fair. If there's somebody in the community that still wants to be stupid and borrow money, he's going to pay more for it. But why must I be penalized for a debt that I made 4 years ago, and I'm busy paying it off, and I'm not increasing it? Why must I now be penalized with a higher interest rate and owe the bank or whoever the creditor is more? Why? That is stupid. But the EFF can make a lot of noises based on racism and shit like that, where their members are suffering when the interest rate is pushed up. Where are they now? Why are they not on the stages and questioning this? Yeah, they come out with a story, nationalize the Reserve Bank. Nationalization of the Reserve Bank is fine. But the fact of the matter is, in South Africa, the government is so fucking corrupt that Reserve Bank will also be pillaged into bankruptcy. And that will fuck the whole country. So, for now we have to live with it until we get to a point where you can know that you've got clean administration in the Reserve Bank. That's what Russia did. Russia threw the private ownership of the Reserve Bank out of their country. And they nationalized their Reserve Bank. And they managed the thing decently and properly without corruption. That is why they could withstand the sanctions war from the West, and why their economy is actually growing while the rest is crumbling. Now, come back to the inflation. When do we see prices drop in the shops? We don't see that. When the fuel price increase, the prices are pushed up, and when the fuel price come down, the prices don't come down. When the interest rates go up, they up the prices in the shop, and when the interest go down, they don't bring the prices down. We as the consumers are being fucked sideways because we are tolerating this shit. Way back in '94, one night at a braai, we were talking about this new setup with black majority rule and so on. I said to one of the guys, one thing that I think that will change is that the general economy will be more careful with what they do to us as consumers, because the black consumers, they boycott the shop into non-existence very quickly, where whites don't really do it. And was I wrong? Look today, the blacks, they're just taking it and taking it. I'm not talking about that violent bullshit, the racist cuck of the EFF and the malls and so forth. White consumers, on the other hand, white consumers has cost Spur a lot of money, and they've cost Dis-Chem now a lot of money. But the fact is this, to tell us the interest rate is necessary to curb inflation is just part of the story. Because by upping the interest rate, who's making the money? The banks, and the Reserve Bank is making the money. We as consumers, we don't get any benefit from that increase in the repo rate. Nothing. We get nothing. We actually pay more, and they are stealing from us, the responsible part of the population that are trying to pay off their bonds, that are trying to pay off their car payments. They are penalizing those responsible consumers. Because today I owe 100,000 and tomorrow I owe 110,000 just by the fucking change in the interest rate. So think about this. Next time when you listen to these politicians talking, ask them, what the fuck is going on here with this repo rate? You understand the fact that, yeah, they want to curb inflation, and the interest rate is to prevent people having too much excess money so that they pay 150 rand for a 50 rand chicken. That is common sense. But why must all of us be penalized because there are 2 or 3 guys that can afford a 150 rand chicken? That is where the problem is. So remember this. Inflation is triggered by too many buyers and too little products. So if you reduce the product availability, the price will automatically go up. And that is how it happens. And we must be careful. We don't just swallow the stories. They bring it to you in a form that make you believe that it is logical. It is bullshit. Again, why must you that are paying your bond off all of a sudden see that you owe more today than yesterday because they up the interest rate? If the interest rate goes up, it must only be applicable to new loans, new credit, not existing credit. And on that note, chew on it. Think about it. That is what we have to do. We have to think more. Think. Listen to these things and think. And don't just accept their bloody stories. We have seen with the pestilence how they lie. In any case, thank you for your support. Please give me a like and a share and a subscribe, and have a great day.